We're going to cover some, a whole range of topics from how girls relate to girls, how boys relate to boys, and how girls and boys relate to each other, how parents can relate to their teens, and how teens maybe can relate to their parents. And you might have guessed at this point, if you've watched Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, it probably has something to do with connection.
Yeah.
Freedom, safety, and connection. There's probably going to be a spot or two in here about being vulnerable and being validated. Would that be
I
a
think
fair
so.
guess?
Yeah.
So social media is great. It's a great way for kids to stay connected with their friends, at least online or virtually connected, which is very different than real life connection. What you see teens in your practice here probably experiencing anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideations. How often and how much do their peer-to-peer relationships come into play in those scenarios?
Not well. The absence of those peer-to-peer.
The absence of them.
Right. That's what's coming into play.
Yeah.
Again, we're not so much looking at all the bad that social media does. It's
Right.
what it takes out of life. It's
Okay.
what it prevents us from accessing the needs that we really need. This kind of interaction where there's proximity,
Face to face, eye to eye.
big time. Yeah.
So can you tell us some examples of maybe how social media creates that absence in some of your clients and what the effects are?
Yeah. So the path of least resistance, right? This very easy synthetic connection that I can get. I can have thousands of friends made up of thousands of pixels, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this seems to be doing the trick. In fact, we even call it friends on our social media.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. The truth is the human brain and the human body, again, it's not getting out of this friend what it gets out of this type of interaction. There's so few actual cues that I can pick up on to kind of register where am I at as far as our relationship. What is the tether between us actually like? Now, to make things more difficult, you only post what? When you post something...
I'm going to show, how boring I am and how lame my life is, and no,
Right,
not at
total
all.
opposite.
Yeah, we all show our best foot forward, as
I
they say.
kind of joke with the female clients that I work with. I call it selfie 17. The first 16 and my duck lips didn't look plump enough, or you could see my double chin, and so the image that we're putting out to our friends is the bar is pretty high.
Yeah.
And what you've got reflecting back at you in the mirror is never going to get over the bar that this little mirror is showing.
One of the experts we talked to was Amanda Leno, and I don't know if she coined the phrase or if she borrowed it from somebody, but she said we're comparing our blooper reel to everyone else's highlight reel.
I love it.
That was great.
I love it. That's perfect.
So, but then why are we so drawn to what's happening neurologically when I've got, I'm vying for, it's like a competition. I'm trying to get followers, I'm trying to get likes, I'm trying to get retweets, I'm trying to get hearts and loves and all this stuff, swipe up, all that stuff. Why is that so gratifying?
Because it's synthetically feeding the attachment need. To be seen, to be heard, to be picked, to be wanted. I'm picked, I'm wanted, I'm liked, like.
Okay.
So it makes sense on the surface. It makes a lot of sense. This isn't me saying, hey, it's obviously not doing the trick. On the surface, it works.
Okay.
But the problem is 20 minutes after the swipe up, I still feel...
You're hungry again. Again, it was Skittles. You needed mashed potatoes and broccoli and, maybe a good lean steak if you're not a vegetarian.
Exactly. So it's not satisfying the real need. And again, I'm not looking at this through a lens that maybe could be considered moral or the right thing to do. We're just looking at the real kids that really sit on this couch and really feel terrible in life and really spend 8, 9, 10 hours till whatever hour in the morning trying to get food, trying to eat, but never really getting...
it's cotton candy.
Yeah.
So, that leads me to kind of an interesting question in terms of, okay, I'm getting likes, I'm getting acceptance, I'm getting popularity, and that feels good, but it goes away pretty fast.
Yeah.
Why is it then when somebody says something really nasty, mean, or hateful to me, it hurts and it hurts for a long time? That's not fair. Why is that happening?
Well, I guess first of all, when somebody says something mean and nasty, it probably triggers what in me? How would you answer it?
Well, I can imagine. I'm human like everybody else. I've got my own set of insecurities.
Insecurities.
Yeah, my things that I keep behind a wall, and if somebody calls me out on it publicly in front of everybody, that sucks.
The stuff that's selfie 1 through 16,
Yeah,
right? The blooper
yeah, they
reel
saw
stuff.
through. They saw through my selfie 17.
I've already got, especially at that age where my brain is still developing, my body's still developing. I've got this insatiable connection, hunger.
Yeah.
When somebody blasts you, it's not like eating Skittles. It's like taking a spoonful of poison.
Yeah.
I mean, it really works against.
Well, and I guess
you.
you just underscored a point that I had missed up till now, and that is if I took 17 selfies before I got one I liked and I posted it, and that was my very best,
And it got criticized.
Yeah. That really hurts.
Big time. Because now even my best is.
It's not good enough for
Not
anybody.
enough.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
And so what's this the other one that we hear about all the time now? FOMO, right? Feeling of missing out.
Yeah. Fear of missing.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that is that a trigger for anxiety, depression?
Well, yeah, anxiety, depression, these are emotions that show up when the big three don't get met.
The big three being freedom, safety,
Freedom,
connection.
safety, connection. So once again, here we are back here. Fear
Yeah.
of missing out on what?
Yeah, a connection with my friends. They're
Being
all at the
in.
party.
Yeah.
They're all at the activity.
Yeah.
Taking selfies, posting pictures, and I'm not there.
Every generation has faced this. I mean, if you go back to our generation, there was always some movie about the loner that didn't get invited out to the lake, and
Yeah.
you know, this has been going on all the way back. It's just the ability to forget, to reject, to leave out
Yeah.
is, I think, magnified because of the ease to include.
Yeah.
It means something more now because it would have been 2 seconds out of your day to
Yeah.
bring me in.
Yeah.
And yet, when I'm not, I think that the response, the negative response, is exaggerated.
Hmm. When we're talking about the cyber social aggression or cyber aggression or the lack thereof or whatever, how are kids responding to this negative the negative commentary? Is there I've heard that there's positive social aggression, that there's healthy social aggression. In other words, it's sort of a peer maturation process, and then there's really damaging negative social aggression, which can really do some serious psychological or emotional damage to somebody. Is there a gray area in there? Where do you delineate between social aggression that helps me grow up and be stronger versus social aggression that tears me down and makes me not want to be here anymore?
When it comes to, is there a gray area? How much is too much? Can a kid handle this or not? I like to look at this analogy of going to the gym. Well, how much weight should I put on the bar? Depends on the strength of the person getting underneath the bar. There really isn't a set, this is okay for all kids. This is too much for all kids. Some kids are pretty resilient, and the social aggression, they've got good strategies and a good support system at home or a group of friends that helps them dismiss that, and it doesn't get through the armor.
Huge. Yeah, I totally noticed that working in the middle school and the high school. There's the prototypical bully. He's kind of a loudmouth. He's a jokester. He likes to make fun of people, and he will make a devastatingly rude comment to one of his peers, and they'll laugh it off.
Yeah.
But to the kid walking down the hall with no friends, he'll make that comment to them, and it crushes them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so again, that makes it really difficult to identify, was that bullying behavior or not?
Right, and it happens in the adult world too. What is condemnable? What is the judge going to rule in this case or that case? Well, it depends on the it depends on the person and the amount of damage, the amount of injury that this person is claiming they took on.
Yeah.
For it.
So one of our expert interviews, I talked to Officer Nathan Herbert, a police officer who works in the schools, and he brought up the idea again. The criminality of it is you can talk about social aggression, you can talk about bullying, but at some point you have to talk about, is this a crime? Is this harassment, which is a misdemeanor? Is it a threat? Is somebody actually feeling harassed or threatened? Does it rise to the level of criminal prosecution or criminal investigation? And one of the things that's noted in state law, at least in Arizona, is it rises to the level of criminal harassment if a reasonable person would feel like that was a repeated provocation.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so that's if you're wondering, is my kid the victim of criminal behavior? Is he being criminally harassed? Well, if a group of 12 people would look at this and say, yeah, that's provocative. And now one of the elements of the crime is the victim, the target, has to at some point stand up and say, stop, that's bothering me.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of these the police lose their ability to help the victim because they don't even know how to say, stop, this is bothering me.
Yeah. They haven't been given even basic skills.
Basic tools
to
to self-advocate.
Oh yeah, right.
And so if your child is being targeted, if they're being harassed, one of the fundamental things that we have to teach them is to stand up and say, stop it.
To have a voice there,
Yeah,
right?
to be able to express that. And there's a whole bunch of other strategies that we could talk about to help make kids more resilient. Are there any? And in our interview with, I think it was Katie here in this office, Katie McPherson, one of our other great experts, I asked the question, hey, I want my kid to be tough. I want my kid to be resilient. I want my kid to be able to stand up for themselves. And your response, kind of hit me right here, right? Because you talked again about the thing you always talk about. Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connection builds resiliency in kids. I like this idea that these are tanks that drain and fill. I mean, none of us always feel filled up when it comes to our ability to pick, to choose, to act, the freedom to... we're going to feel restrictions. We're going to feel stuck at scout camp. Well, we're going to feel stuck in another semester or summer school.
Yeah.
We're supposed to experience an opposition. We're supposed to experience this dichotomous life for a moment, sometimes for months.
Yeah.
Same with safety, same with connection. It's not that you always have to keep these tanks, it's not that they're always going to be on full. It's when the red light's on and they're blinking, we're going to see really desperate kids feeling really desperate emotions, doing really desperate action.
Sure.
I would love to see these kids that go and do these heinous crimes and they shoot up a school or something. I would be so interested to look at if they have their mental health for the most part in check. I would be so interested to look at these fuel tanks, especially this connection
piece.
What would we see?
Yeah.
What the assumption is we would see very depleted, very isolated, lonely, rejected, abandoned kids.
It's a stereotype, and I know we need to be careful about generalizations and stereotypes, but when I was in the schools working with kids, I would try to identify those kids that were easy targets and pull them into my office and be their buddies.
Yeah.
And build up their connection.
There it is.
And teach them that they had a voice and that they had somebody they could talk to, and that and it's amazing how much more resilient these the scrawny, nerdy little kids who are picked on all the time would become more resilient throughout the year, as I just brought them in my office once or twice a week and just talked with them and built them up.
So just notice that you didn't teach them karate or self-defense or whatever. You didn't have to teach them how to throw a punch. The emotional stability, resilience, security builds when I have a tribe.
Yeah.
It builds when I have a community.
Well, and again, that's going back to it's a stereotype, but I saw it over and over and over again. You got the bully, the loudmouth, the jokester, and he mouths off to his buddies or even to another group that has friends, bounces off.
They're okay.
They're Superman. That bullet doesn't hit them, right? But it's the isolated kid who has nobody at home, who has no connection with his parents, who has no friends. Those comments cut to the core.
Yeah. We throw that word insecure around like, oh, don't be so insecure. Think about the word insecure. I don't
Not
have a
safe.
secure, I'm
Yeah.
not safe. I
Yeah.
don't have a security system, and I don't have what helps
tribe.
build this safety
Connection.
up, the connection. Yeah. These are very interrelated.
So, best strategies for parents with kids who are struggling as the targets of social aggression, where it's gotten to be unhealthy, where the kid's feeling anxious, depressed, suicidal because they're being picked on constantly. Best strategies?
Well, what I've watched work, what I've seen parents take their kids out of my office and do successfully is not try to cram that square peg into the circular hole, but really exploring. Again, we can go back to those tools of attunement, listening to this kid, learning about this kid, emotionally what's going on. Learn about his passions, his interests, get him involved in something where he fits.
Yeah.
I've got a great example of a client from some months ago. His dad was athletic, and his dad kept putting him on teams. This kid wants to code. He wants to
He wants to write video games.
Guess what helped that resilient kid build? It was finding a group of kids that coded. There was a
Different kind of team.
different kind of team.
Yeah.
Team is not exclusive to sports.
Right.
Team is family. Team is neighborhood. Team is your church community.
Yeah.
Team is the kids in code club.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my experience. That's what builds that resiliency up better than and more efficiently, more securely than just about anything.
How important is the parent-child dynamic?
I think that it's huge, but that's also a slippery slope for a lot of parents who already shame themselves because they can't seem to connect with their kid.
Yeah.
We can see very resilient kids who have a great group of friends, but aren't exactly seeing eye to eye with parent.
Sure.
We can see resilient kids who have great home lives, a lot of security at home,
Yeah.
but don't exactly fit into the public school
Yeah.
arena. Then there's those kids that just seem to
Mesh everywhere.
everywhere they go.
Yeah. And the ones that are really at risk are the ones that don't have it at home and they don't have it at school.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like if you want to look at, again, anecdotally, if you want to look at the news stories that have hit the headlines for the last 10 years with school shootings, we're seeing kids disconnected from their parents or their families,
Yeah.
and those same kids being disconnected from their peer group.
Yeah, not only, and to your point earlier, not only disconnected, but they're feeling rejected. Not just I don't have a spot, you don't belong
Yeah.
is kind of the message.
Yeah.
And that absolutely, it really messes with the healthy psyche. It really messes with a person's ability to feel secure.
All right. So there you have it. Relationships, both cyber and in real life, are all about connection and building relationships and creating environments where our kids can have healthy relationships. Again, that maybe means disconnecting a little bit from social media and providing them with environments where they can make friends in code club or football or basketball or rock climbing or whatever. Someplace to make friends and have a tribe.